I guess it's just for any of y'all, but y'all didn't have your best gymnastics last week, but what was this week of practice like, and what was your mindset coming into this game?
We came in on Monday with a completely different mindset. We acknowledged that it wasn't our best meet on Friday, and we just like completely changed our perspective and realized like we're better than this. Like we can do it. We just have to put it together. And so this whole week of practice looked really good for us in the gym, and like the energy was so high every single day. And so we brought it to the meet, and we finally did what we do in the gym every single day.
Kailin, did you feel like, I guess, that adversity that y'all went through last week, was that necessary for today's outcome to happen?
I don't really think it was necessary. I think it made us really driven. I think that what happened last week was very uncharacteristic. We have just been showing our best gymnastics day in and day out of the gym, and so for that to happen last week, it wasn't what we wanted, but we really came in here tonight and we put our best foot forward and did exactly what we needed to do tonight.
KJ, for you, your first ball since the season opener, I guess, how did it feel setting a tone like that?
Oh, it was a blast to be back out there again. I've been missing competing for my team, but I've just been everyone's biggest cheerleader, and I love being a part of a team, whether I'm competing or not. It's fun to be here. This team is everything to me. Getting back out there, and now that I'm finally healthy again, is super exciting, knowing that the coaches trust me, to go and lead off the competition like that.
Konnor, what you think about, I guess, y'all beam routine tonight? I guess everybody kind of stuck their landings. You had the 995, Kailin the 995. What are your thoughts about that overall?
It's just the whole meet was like fire starters. Like every single event, the first person went up there and they did their best routine. And so once they do that, it just keeps on going throughout the lineup. And so on beam, it's just Sierra went out there and killed it, and then Kylie killed it, and then Kailin killed it, and it's just like one after another. We watch each other and we see that, and it's just like, okay, like we're not even nervous at this point. It's just doing what we do.
Y'all had 11, or whoever would like to answer, y'all had 11 season highs tonight, or career highs if you're a freshman like Kailin. But so what was so much different? Was there anything during the week that made y'all, improve the performance from last week? Or did y'all get together and have a meeting? Was there any kind of realization that came to you that said, that led to such a good performance?
After last week's performance, we all came together and just, decided to put our head down and get back to work. Everyone just focused on what they need to fix individually. And, tonight we just came out here and did our best. We fed off of each other's energy, one after another. And we just tried to, work together as a team and not focus on the scores, not focus on the crowd, not focus on anything other than, the 5 seconds in front of our face, which is what Jay talks about a lot, and something that's really important to us is just, staying present in the moment. So, yeah.
KJ, can you elaborate more on your injury and what kind of preparation went into tonight?
Like what happened, with my injury, or? Well, coming back from it, I've been doing lots of, treatment, rehab, taking my numbers really slow, being able to get back out there and do a vault. I didn't have to train a lot of numbers just because that's a vault I've been competing for years. And so just seeing how I feel with my ankle and, getting back into training, we just kind of take it day by day.
Anybody else?
Kailin, your first all-around title. I don't imagine it'll be the last for you at LSU. What did that feel? Did you know it? What did you think of the performance?
I didn't really know it, being completely honest. I was just kind of going with the flow and going with my team. My team was doing their absolute best gymnastics tonight, and so I was just feeding off their energy, doing exactly what I've been working on in the gym, and just put my head down and was just like, you know how to do gymnastics, so go out there and do the gymnastics that you know. There doesn't need to be any stress. And so I think that was kind of what was going through my head last week, but this week I was just like, you know what, it's a clean slate. And so tonight I just did what I could and did my best gymnastics for them, and the results turned out how they did.
And what feels different about competing with a college teammate around you, teammates around you, compared to when you're competing, internationally? Not individually, but when you've done team things when you represented your country.
Yeah, it definitely. There's a lot more energy, and this team, we love each other so much. We do literally everything together. We have each other's back day in and day out, and so just having them by my side and knowing that this is a team sport, it's not. Jay always talks about it's a we, not an I thing, and so we are coming together and doing the best gymnastics that we do, and so I feed off their energy, they feed off of my energy, and so that's what helps us get through tonight.
Thank you.
Make sure the deciding's facing forward. Moral of the story is maybe I need to be out of practice early every week, because I was down for the count after Arkansas. I went recruiting and came back, and I don't know, I had some kind of flu or something, and I missed Monday, Tuesday. But the staff just told me how amazing they were when they came back in the room for the first time, and the things they were saying in the meeting, and the intentionality and the energy that they brought to practice really shifted this week, and they really understood, the reasons for what had happened the previous week. And so I didn't have to say a whole lot to them. I showed up yesterday and watched the inter squad and agreed that the energy and the intentionality and the drive was back, and it showed again tonight. It showed out there tonight. But we got to be careful. Again, it's one meet, and we've got to be able to do this stuff on the road. So that's what we'll see what happens next. The next 5 minutes. Is that a question? Oh.
Yeah, Coach. The vault. How much baton setter was that?
It was huge.
Specifically, KJ.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you see what happens. Like, momentum is hard to get sometimes, and when you get it, you got to be able to hold on to it. KJ starts us in a place with momentum 90% of the time when she goes out there and does that. And so it just lit the fuse, and it just lit the fuse, and you could just feel it. I started to relax. As soon as she did that, I was like, watch this. Because you could just see it in their face, and they were just going to do it all the way through. With the one caveat to that being that it seemed as though the vault judges for both teams were going to cap everything at a 9.925. There was no shot they were going any higher. We stone stuck first four in a row. I think they did the same thing with at least 2 1.5s that I saw, and it's just, and so then you see other kids begin to press because they're trying to do something just like almost supernatural to try and get to the next tier, so you see that in other places too, on other events, but that's where I saw it tonight. And I think both teams performed exceptionally well overall tonight, but I thought both teams did well. specifically.
Chio winning the all-around, as a freshman in a top 10 showdown. It's huge. How would you describe her performance tonight?
Very Chio-like. I mean, that's who we are. I think she just had to settle back down. I think, sometimes as a freshman you can come in, have immediate success and expectation and this sort of feeling of have to can climb all over you and I think maybe she had experienced that a little bit in spots for a couple of weeks, and that's the conversation that I had with her too. Was get back to letting things happen organically. Shut the brain off. Stop analyzing everything you do. I just think she did a really extraordinary job, as did so many, but she did great.
You expressed some displeasure with the scoring there. There's been a lot of talk about scoring this season. What are you? And I've heard talking to people like Patricia Duffy, nationally follows the sport, so there could even be some mid-season change in the way that they do scoring. Is that possible? Do you want to see it?
And that just adds to the ridiculousness, right? The issue is not that I think scores should remain unduly high. The issue is that this thing we've put in place, either intentionally or unintentionally, has only attacked one part of scoring, and it has tamped down the ceiling and done very little about anything else. And so it's not equitable across the board. I'm all for credibility in scoring. I'm all for increased accuracy, understanding that we are a subjective sport and you will never remove the subjectivity. I just don't think that this thing has been rolled out in a manner, and it's supposed to be a pilot program, and yet we're getting newsletters and we're getting told, what the deductions are that are being missed most. Says who? Judging in venue is a different deal than sitting somewhere, who knows where, in a living room on a video screen, and then that level of subjectivity is supposed to add more credibility. And so I think what we have created is that with a targeted part of the scoring spectrum, we have judges looking over their shoulder. And there's better ways to do this. I am not about like everything should get a 10. That's not it at all. But there has to be, it's got to be, whatever we do to increase credibility or tamp down or whatever. Like I've never had anyone present to me that on a consistent basis the wrong team wins or the wrong gymnast wins or whatever. Now you could say the score might have been too high, but was it ranked correctly on that night? That's the real question, right? Was it the best routine on that night? And, to the point where people scream and clamor enough that at some point Trinity Thomas issued a public apology for getting a 10, for crying out loud. Here's the thing. When you go to a sporting event, Scott, when you go to a baseball game, what's one of the things you hope you see? A home run. When you go to a football game, you want to see an explosive play, a long touchdown pass, or things like that. You hope to see those things. That's sport. Controversy is also sport, and there's nothing wrong with. There's never going to be a time when we're all happy with all the scores we see, because all of us have bias. All of us, coaches, fans, everyone. The point is it ranked correctly? Is it consistent across the board? And by any real objective measure, we haven't created a more consistent situation this year. We've created a more erratic situation here. And I don't blame the judges one bit, because they're doing the best they can to do the job that we've asked them to do. There are easier ways to correct wrongs in venue, and it should be, in my opinion, given the meet referee authority to convene a conference. Right now, our meet referees have no authority to do much of anything. And so in tennis, the chair umpire can overrule the line judge. In the home plate umpire in baseball can walk out and call a conference if they thought something was missed at second base. These are things that are common in other sports. Our meet refs are to sit on their hands. They judge every routine, and in almost every venue, we were required to have them, but yet they really can't do anything except be a liaison to deliver papers from a coach to the panel. To me, if I'm an official, I'm going to feel a whole lot better about somebody who's in venue with me as part of the official panel in the meet, to be able, if something egregious happens, to be able to have the authority to walk over and say, hey guys, let's talk this over, and let's make sure we get this right. That's a simpler solution than having to use technology from different angles, not in venue. It's a whole different ballgame when you're not judging in venue. And so I don't want anything I say or anything Liv tweeted, by the way, I had nothing to do with that. She just knows how I feel about it. But she's right. And we're at a time where collegiate athletics is, Olympic sports programs, many are in peril for funding, and revenue share is coming in, and scholarships are going to be moved from sport to sport. All this, everybody got an increase in scholarship. No, they didn't. They got an increased limit. And not every school is going to be able to do that. And so at a time when that uncertainty exists for at least 50 or 60% of our programs in our sport, we drop this little poison pill into our scoring so that the fans sit there and wonder, what the heck's going on? So it's ill-timed, it's incomplete, it's ill-conceived, and it just is, and we keep having to make adjustments, and now we're not going to put suggested deductions in the newsletter anymore, I hear, and we're not going to put those things out there. We're just data collecting. That's what we were supposed to be doing in the first place. But there's all this information leaking about what's being looked for and what's not being taken, and so it's just been, in my opinion, an abject disaster, and it was fairly predictable that it would be. And I hope there's growing sentiment that we need to go about this a different way. Let's examine what we do in scoring. Let's try to create more accuracy, yes. But in a time like this, we cannot be some kind of purist. We can be marketable or we can be purist. We're probably not going to be both. And if we're going to be purist, then let's look at run the gamut. Let's look at the routine that goes 9.75 that should go 9.6 as well. Let's look at all of it, not just the higher end scores, because these kids work hard. And then you see things like this, where kids, they know they just did the best vault of their life. It goes 9.925. The next kid's like, man, what do you got to do to get a 9.95? I'm not even talking about a 10. Helen Who should have got a 10. Helen, that beam set is the best beam set in the country, and she did it flawlessly. I dare anybody to tell me where the real deduction was. Now, I wasn't sitting where the judges were, and I'm not questioning their credibility. I'm questioning our judgment as a coaches group for doing this thing that has just created some pendulum swing back and forth where the judges keep trying to find themselves. And it's just unfortunate. So thanks for putting me on my soapbox. I mean, it's not affecting the rankings. If you look year to year over the last several years, I mean, the rankings and the teams that are in the top 15 or whatever, it's the usual suspects. But if you look at where at the higher end scores on each team and where they're capped, there's where the change is. And so the fans don't get to see their home run. They see them, and they clear the fence. We just don't call them home runs anymore. I said that on the air, but that was kind of what I meant anyway.
Coach, not trying to harp on the negative, but you got to be pretty shocked to see Finnegan at the bottom of bars and floors. Was it kind of just an off day for her?
I'm not even commenting about that, man. I think that's a ridiculous statement. What Aaliyah Finnegan's done for this program, she's allowed to have a routine or two that she's not at her best. I'm not even gonna justify that.
As far as the beams, is that your best beam of the season so far, you think?
I thought it was fabulous. I thought it was. I mean, those first four got up there. You know, Haley's. We had a little thing. I guess whatever I had is kind of run through several of them, and Haley's got a little respiratory thing going. She was coughing and sniffling and doing things. She didn't seem herself going into that, but you know, Haley's just getting her legs under her, and I thought Aaliyah's routine up until the dismount was. I mean, again, those first four were really, really strong, and I'm super pleased with that beam set. I'm super pleased with the whole meet. Really, there's still places to improve, obviously, but
I know you don't like to compare this year's team to last year's and everything, but how would you say y'all are performing this year at this time compared to where you were at this time last year?
I mean, overall, you know, minus obviously what happened on the back two events last week. I thought the first two events last week were really good. I'd say overall, we're probably clicking on a little better cylinders. And if the training, you know, sort of attitude and energy and their enthusiasm, you know, just bringing the energy every day and catching fire in practice the way they did. If that continues, then you know, then we'll be in a good place. And we're still getting KJ back was big, and we're going to get Haley back. Haley will vault competitive vaults Sunday for the first time in the gym, and Alona did full floor sets this week. I mean, so we're getting more. Oh, I don't know how many of you noticed Kalia Lincoln out there tumbling tonight. I mean, she likely will be in the floor lineup at least by the time we return for Oklahoma, if not next week. She could have gone tonight if necessary, and it is gigantic. So we're getting healthier, knock on wood, and we're finally beginning to get those bodies moving, and that also changes the dynamic in practice and preparation because everybody kind of is in the mix, and you feel the mojo, and they're having fun and high-fiving and you know, laughing and enjoying. They get a lot of enjoyment when they're doing things at a high level of intensity and togetherness in the gym, and so that's my hope, is that we continue to move in that direction.
Yeah, KJ returning from injury, killing it on vault. How have you seen her grow in her performance tonight?
She's just, I'm just happy for her. She went through a rough patch this fall, and you know, I was worried. I was worried that we might not get her back, and a lot of it really had nothing to do with her feet or anything physically. She just was, you know, not in a good space for her, and I'm just happy she's back because her personality's back, and she's coming in the gym. And I know when KJ's in a good place because when she sees me, she greets me by saying, "Hey, buddy." You know, that's the way she's always done it. So when KJ's in a good spot, that you can hear it, you can see it in her demeanor and in her countenance, and she's been back for several weeks now, and so she was chomping at the bit to vault tonight. Lexi's Ice did a great job of warm-ups and in inter squad too, and wanted to go, but we really needed to get KJ back out there. It was time, and she needed that, and I think it turned out to be the right decision for tonight.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not hacked off. I don't want to talk when, you know, Aaliyah Fennick, like I said, what that kid has done around here, she's okay to make mistakes, and she needs to know that she's okay. So I'm just not gonna give commentary to that. That's all. Okay. Thank you.